Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV. I'm here at 10th Cloud Expo, New York, as is Sameer Dholakia, and only just moments ago, it seems to me, you were keynoting and the vibrant applause was in my ears, and here you are. It was a great keynote. Thank you so much, Sameer.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you very much for having us, Jeremy. We loved it.
Very receptive audience, I hope you noticed.
It was great. You could feel the energy, and there's so many open minds here that are sucking it in and absorbing cloud and what they should be doing in the cloud, and it feels a very different tenor than in years past. They're ready.
There was
researching now. They're ready.
They're ready, and there was a lot to absorb, Sameer. So how do we back up? How do we talk about Citrix and the cloud and make it all, fit together? Yeah.
Yeah, we think about cloud at multiple levels inside of Citrix as a company. There's cloud platforms, and that's really the team that I focus on and leading. And that's really establishing CloudStack and Zen Server as pervasive platforms in the industry to build Amazon-style clouds that can manage workloads, both traditional enterprise workloads and what we would call next-gen or Amazon-style workloads. So that's at the cloud platforms layer. Around that, we have cloud networking, and we have a broad portfolio of solutions around that with our NetScaler product line, Cloud Bridge. It's about connecting clouds. And then the third area is around delivering desktops and applications as a service, as a cloud service. And that is what we announced just a month ago around Project Avalon. So taking the core of our business, Zen Desktop, delivering Windows desktops and apps from any cloud, either private, public, or hybrid. So those are the three areas in cloud that I tend to think about most with Citrix. Then, of course, we have our SaaS business, which is actually above all of that, which is GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar and all that, and that's we're a top 10 SaaS provider globally, providing our own software as a service. So Citrix has a very big and significant footprint in the cloud.
It certainly does. Obviously, one of the fascinations in my role as sort of anthropologist of technology is seeing the major companies come into the field and see what kind of topology you find. And you've made a really interesting, you had to deal also with that cloud.com sort of story, which I think was very candid, the way that was dealt with all through this show by Citrix, saying we tried something, we did. That's a kind of candidness that I think really resonates with an industry like this.
Well, I appreciate that. We feel very passionately about the space and really do believe that we have tried in earnest to do what is best in the open source community to make things as seamless as possible. For a host of reasons, things didn't come together with the CloudStack project and the OpenStack project as collectively we would have all liked. But that's okay. We've had lots of conversations, and I think everybody on both sides would say it's a really big market. This is going to be a huge decade-long trend. There's room for
everyone.
And I think we are going to continue to work inside of the OpenStack project with our other technologies, Zen Server, NetScaler, and we at CloudStack can certainly consume things of OpenStack, and we hope that OpenStack will consume things that CloudStack, the Apache CloudStack project produces. So, I think it'll all be fine.
I think it has been an interesting chapter in the cloud book so far, because it is an adventure, it is a journey. We don't necessarily know the answers to everything yet, and now you've become associated with that. It's fine.
That's right. That's right. And we do believe that it's an exciting journey. CloudStack simply has had such tremendous customer adoption and continues to with service providers around the globe, standing up Amazon-style clouds, serving their enterprise customers. Now, as I said in our keynote this morning, enterprise customers, very traditional, financial services, healthcare, government, EDU, and then all the new guys, the .coms, the Web 2.0s, the social, those guys also adopting. So cloud is here, it is now, it is for real, and we're just happy to be participating in this incredible trend.
I've got to play that old drivers game where we're at this high level, Sameer. Let's not necessarily, they don't have to be in order of priority, but what would you nail as the three big drivers for this whole change?
Gosh, we really believe firmly that this workload-centric approach is the right answer. That as people think about adoption of cloud, that it has to be in the context of an enterprise thinking about their portfolio and saying, these workloads need to run in this fashion and thus need an architecture that runs in this way. And these other workloads are different and they need a different kind of architecture. And we do believe that over the next, and it literally will be years, we will see a shift from the old architecture where applications assume 5 nines of reliability. The infrastructure is always going to be there. To the new architecture where applications are smart enough to be cloud aware and whole sections of the cloud can go down and it won't affect the service being offered to the end user. Now that's a very small portion today of the enterprise workloads, but we believe that's going to grow. Yeah. But we believe there's always going to be a very significant piece over here that is still in the legacy style. And what we are really excited about for cloud is our ability to uniquely manage both of those. And so I think that's probably going to be the single biggest trend in order for cloud adoption to really happen at scale in the mainstream with enterprise. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have to think about those workloads, the architectures to support those workloads, and the cloud orchestration to manage across them both.
Workload centricity. I like that whole notion. It's a good term.
Yeah, we think that's the right way to think about things. And when you do, it becomes very clear as to how you need to build your cloud.
You've talked about, we're talking all of us about where we are at this, and you're now talking about this being 5, 10, I mean, major shift. Do you often have to speak to that? Are people saying, they want to know the calendar? What do you tend to say? I mean, is it a 15-year thing? Is it a 25-year thing?
Well, the key thing that we keep highlighting is, yes, we actually do oftentimes talk about it in terms of it being a decade-long trend, but every journey starts with a first step. And you have to take that step now. And we talked about in the keynote this morning about how the cloud adoption patterns are radically different than historical technology patterns where it used to be top-down. The CIO would say, go do this, and it would go down that way. With the cloud, because of the democratization of IT, the consumerization of IT, it's happening bottoms up. And so in that context, if an enterprise waits and says, I've got 5 years, I got 10 years, we'll figure this out. I got to get my long-term strategy committee together and we'll figure it out. By the time you figure out what you would like to do, your developers will have already voted. They'll have voted with their feet, with their credit card, with their keyboards, and they'll have decided for you. So you can't do that. You really have to get started now. And the great news for us, I think, is if the show here has been any indication, if the keynote has been any indication, they're taking those steps, and that's great.
They certainly are. I hope you're going to take the steps to be back with us on the West Coast in November.
We're looking forward to it. We'll be there.
That's what I like to hear. Sameer Dholakia, thank you so much. Again, thank you for the keynote, and thank you out there for following along on the World Wide Web.